Okay, Zach, you've signed here. I'm also going to sign. You're going to get a copy of this. I have some other documents we have to go through to get this done. First one is our roofing info sheet. This is a breakdown of the requirements and what your expectations should be, okay? Signs such as the grass. We'd like to have your grass cut right before, and we'll give you some notice, but we'd like to have the grass cut before we get there. One of the biggest reasons, obviously, is some of the debris that comes off the roof that doesn't get caught in our equipter or our catch-all. It'll be much easier to find and rake up when the grass is down. The yard sign, we'd like to put a yard sign out, let folks know that it's us doing your roof because we're proud of the work we do. So we'd like your permission to go ahead and do that. Pre-existing conditions, when we go around and do our inspection, we do take pictures all the way around. If there's something like a chink in the siding or a dent in a downspout, we're going to have that, all documented picture-wise. And we do this for our own protection, to make sure that something that was done before we got here, we're not going to get blamed for. Now, if we happen to make a mistake, by all means, we'll correct it. The wiring, AC lines, electrical, telephone, security lines, if it's anything that's not installed completely underneath, you got those big poles that come out of some of the houses and so on. We can do split boots around those. But wiring and stuff like that may be a way of something you're going to have that looked at before we get working. Also, stuff underneath, like in the attic. If it was installed improperly, and I've seen this happen, or electric lines are nailed to the rafter, if we're putting a decking down and we happen to put a nail through that, that could be an issue. I didn't see anything like that in your attic, so I think we're safe there. But you have to know that, just like that fan that we got to take out of your ceiling, that power fan, you need to get an electrician to at least come up and disconnect that. We can take that out. The ventilation we're going to put in is going to be much better anyway. Then satellite dish, listen, we'll take it off. We'll lower it down to the roof very gradually, nicely, but we're not going to reinstall it. You probably don't want to watch Chinese television anyway, right? Because if our guys put that thing back up, it's not going to be pointing in the right direction. Generally, if you call the satellite company, let them know you're getting your roof done. I highly recommend you have it put on a post in your yard and not back on the roof, or even they can flat or side mount it to your fascia board. When you're putting holes in roofs, that's always a problem. So that would be my recommendation. And sometimes they're going to tell you there's a fee. If you call them ahead of time and say, listen, this is getting done, I'll give you the exact date, I'd like you to come back and reinstall it. And tell them, if they say there's going to be a fee of $150, $200, so well, that's okay. DirecTV already told me they'd come out and put a new one in for free. I'll bet you they changed their mind on that fee. Then your ceilings. When we're doing this roof, when we're tearing off, you get 14, 16 guys up on that roof and they're going at it. The house is going to vibrate. First of all, you're going to get a lot of dust coming out of in between the decking, especially if it's one by. You can get that covered if you want to do it yourself. If you want us to do it, I can quote you a price to go up and seal the attic floor with tarps or plastic. Of course, that's above and beyond the price of the roof. Also, anything in your ceiling, chandeliers, picture frames on your wall, things that may be a little loose, I would recommend you take that down or find a way to secure them, at least during the tear-off process. Your roof is about 30 square. You're probably looking at a 4 or 5 hour rip-off time. Once they're done tearing off, it should be okay. When they start shingling, they do hand nail. They don't use roofing guns. But you're talking about a one-day process. I'd wait till the roof is done to put everything back up. Your driveway is going to be an access for us, most likely. We got to put the dumpster in the driveway. I would recommend you have the cars out in the street the day before so that when our trucks get in and out and material comes, we've got access to get to the driveway. When everything is all done, my guys will still sweep up and clean up. Light fixtures, mirror pictures, just like I was talking about, taking all that stuff off the walls. Your guttering, we're going to make every attempt to protect your gutters. Your gutters did pass the inspection. Some of that gutter guard sometimes gets up underneath the shingles when it wasn't installed properly. You see a lot of guys do that. Our guys do it right, but unfortunately, some of yours is a mesh. There's asphalt on your shingles. If that happens to be stuck to that mesh, when we're tearing off, some of that gutter guard may come off. We can't be held liable for that because we're going to put a brand new roof on. I can get you a quote to repair it, to whatever needs to be repaired, or I can get you a quote to replace it all with some good stuff that we don't got to tuck under the shingles. Next, obviously access to your property. We'll let you know when we're coming. We need to have your permission to be here and take care of things. If you got puppy dogs or stuff out there, we prefer they were inside the house so they can't get hurt or, damaged, during the process. Portable restroom, we don't do that. This isn't a big enough job. We do tear off all the existing shingles, and again, some of that debris can fall into the attic. You have one by decking. When we're all done cleaning up, we don't go back and clean the attic, but if you want us to prepare that, we can do that as well. We clean up upon completion. When we're all done, the guys take all the tarps up. They pick up everything off the ground. They go around twice with a magnet on 2 wheels. It's about a 2-foot magnet. They also rake around the perimeter because some of those nails may be aluminum. So they take care of that completely. Any changes to the scope of work? If we get halfway through and you change your mind and you want to change the color of the shingles, we can do that, but there's going to be a fee for that. If you decide when we're halfway through that you really do want to upgrade your gutter guard, we'll be happy to do that as also. We'll fill out some paperwork and get it done for you. Delays, the only delays we can have is weather, maybe labor issues, but our guys come to work every day. But with bad weather, inclement weather, things like that, that's the only thing that's going to dictate how long it takes us to get to you and then get it finished. Do you have any questions about this?
No, what's the last part on there?
It says delays.
What's that one?
Oh, I didn't see that. Liens. Company reserves the right to file a lien against the property 45 days after work completed as payment is not made. Pretty simple. If you don't pay us, we're going to file a lien against your property. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Okay, so pay us, you deadbeat. Yeah. Next is our service proposal. This is actually a breakdown. It's your name, address, and so on. The scope of work is what we went over here. It really is everything that we're doing on here. We're going to remove your roof and replace it with a brand new 50-year GAF shingled roof. The contract amount is $22,125.12. So that is the price. We'll put that in here. The contract time, and no event shall contract have any responsibility or liability for their owner for any damages, failure, or delay in performance of this contract, which results directly or indirectly in whole or part. You can read every bit of this. You're welcome to. I'm going to leave you a copy of it. But if I have to read all this and all that, we're going to be here all night. So I'm going to give you a full copy of everything for you to read. But basically what this is going over is the amount of time between when we do the work and when it's finished. We do expect to be paid, and we expect you to expect it to be done properly. Exclusions, this is anything that's not identified on the scope of work, which is on here and on here. And that would come into a process of changing, adding to the contract or doing an extension. Contingencies would be material change to completion date or contract amount. Again, our distributors sometimes are a little behind. If they get here a day late with the material, we can overcome that. It very rarely happens, but it could. Notice of subcontractors and suppliers. Our guys are Angeles Roofing, but they are exclusive to us. They only work for us. They're under our workers' comp. They're under our insurance. So you're completely covered there. Your acceptance here is basically when you sign this, you're saying that you agree with all the, with everything on the contract, the pricing and so on. And then on the back here, I'm gonna go over real quick. Cancellation, there's a separate sheet for that. It's a 3-day rate of cancellation. Any in-home sale, you have a proper right to at least 3 days. For 3 days to change your mind. If you do that, just give us a call. No harm, no foul. We'll go ahead and cancel it. But I'd ask now that if you plan on canceling, let's just do it now. Is this something you want to plan on canceling?
No.
Okay. And generally, most people, when they've gone this far, it's time to get it done. Let's get it done.
Yeah.
Your duties, there's some duties here, making sure the grass, as I told you, is claimed, and that you got the walls cleared off and the driveway's clear. And again, you can read all this. I'm going to paraphrase it because I don't want to be in your house past dinner time. You certainly don't want to feed me, I know. Any changes or additions, we also spoke about that. That will be added on and correct. Permits and insurance, we take care of the permits. We pull the permits automatically. We are a licensed insured contractor, so we can get the permits. I warn anybody to stay away from companies that ask you to go get your own permit because they're making you the contractor, which means if there's any problems, they're not liable. With us, we pull the permit. We have full work insurance. Adverse and unforeseen conditions, well, there could be a lot of them. It is exactly what it says. Adverse or unforeseen, it's not something out of our hands. If something like that happens, we will work with you and explain how we're going to correct these issues. Hazardous substances, please don't leave paint, poison, stuff like that around, because my guys drink it, they're going to drop that on your yard, and then we got a big issue. One of the biggest things about this, if there's an open can of paint laying down, the guys don't see it and they kick it. Now it's all over your deck. We can't be held liable for containers of hazardous material that can cause a problem. So if you have anything like that around, pesticides, things like that, pop it back in the garage before we get here. That way there's no issue. Safety is always a concern with us. Our guys have proper safety methods. They do tie off to the roof. They do put tarps and screenings and nets up around the house to protect the house. Safety is always an issue for us. When we get done, I've got to tell you, we're going to do a tremendous job of cleaning up. never can we promise every single nail is going to be found. It's almost impossible. You got 2 layers of shingles on the roof, and on a house of your size with 2 layers, you're talking in the excess of 20,000 nails. If we get 19,970 of them, I think we did a pretty good job. You know, but just be mindful after the process. If you see some nails laying around, call us. We'll come back out and grab them. If they're that visible, I'm going to give the guys a hard time because they shouldn't have missed them. But we're going to do our very best and due diligence to get your nails, get the yard cleaned up, and have you back to. The only reason you would know we're here is because you have a brand new roof. Okay. The warranties we've talked about, termination by contractor. If something comes up where you've decided not to give us a deposit, we've already bought the materials. There's a lot of issues that can come up. That's something we can arbitrate with you. And if we get to the point where we're done with the roof, we know it's done properly, you're not happy with it, at some point if we got to go to arbitration, we will do so. That never happens. We do hundreds of roofs every year. We have such a high customer satisfaction rate. We are a master lead installer. I don't see any of these issues ever coming up, but if they do, you've got protection. So I just need you to make sure here that we did go over this. And again, you can read that word for word if you like. There's nothing to hide. I'm leaving you a copy of it. And then you've already signed this. So we've got everything here. Do you have any other questions about paperwork?
No.
Here's all your copies of the paperwork. And the production department will be contacting you when we get close to let you know that we'll be coming out so that you can take your steps and we'll take ours.
Sounds good.
Have a great night.
Appreciate it.